I'm John, Mrs. Munton's husband. You know Mrs. Munton, she works in your office. And some of you'll know me from doing pantomime. In my everyday job, I'm managing director of a business, which is really exciting. I still loved going to work every single day. And I've been asked to read a few words from Roald Dahl's The Twits. So, should we get started? Here we go. This is Dirty Beards. As you know, an ordinary and hairy face like yours and mine simply gets a bit smudgy if it's not washed often enough, and there's nothing so awful about that. But a hairy face is very different matter. Things cling to the hairs, especially food. Things like gravy go right amongst the hairs and stay there. You and I can wipe our smooth faces with a flannel, and we quickly look more or less all right again. But the hairy man cannot do that. We can also, if we're careful, eat our meals without spreading the food all over our faces. But not so the hairy man. Watch carefully next time you see a hairy man eating his lunch, and you will notice that every time he opens his mouth very wide, it's impossible for him to get a spoonful of beef stew or ice cream and chocolate sauce into it without leaving something on the hairs. Mr. Twit didn't even bother to open his mouth wide when he ate. As a result, because he never washed, there will always be hundreds of bits of old breakfast, lunches and suppers sticking to his hairs around his face. They weren't big bits, mind you, because he used to wipe those off with the back of his hand or on his sleeve while he was eating. But if you look closely, not that you'd ever want to do that, you would see tiny speckles of dried up scrambled egg stuck to the hairs, and spinach and tomato ketchup and fish fingers and minced chicken livers and all other disgusting things that Mr. Twit liked to eat. Look. Oh no. If you peered down into his moustachy bristles sticking out all over his upper lip, you would probably see a much larger objects that had escaped the wipe of his hands. Things like that's been there for a month or more, like pieces of maggoty green cheese, or mouldy old cornflakes, or even the slimy tail of a tin sardine. But of all of this, Mr. Twit never really was hungry. By sticking his tongue and curling it sideways to explore the hairy jungle around his mouth, as that, oh dear, he was always able to find a tiny morsel and nibble on. What I'm trying to tell you is that Mr. Twit was a foul and smelly old man. He was also an extremely horrible man, as you will find out in a moment. Bye.